Shalom, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a live episode of Life with Sharon, Midday Motivation. It is Friday, May the 13th. Yes, it is Friday the 13th, 2022. Okay, where did that comment come up from? Do you see that, Tamika, that comment on the screen?
No.
Okay, I see it on my end. I don't know what others are seeing, but I see that. But this is technology that I'm not really familiar with, so I don't really know what's going on here. So I remember that from yesterday. So there must be some sort of glitch in the system. But listen, this is live, and there's nothing that you could do about live streaming. So I am going to try to do what I might know, and it's not a lot. So bear with me for a second. Bear with me, Tamika, so I can get that off of the screen because that has nothing to do with today's show. That is a commenter, and I have really that's a commenter from yesterday. So how that came up, I don't really know. That's really strange. But I'm just making a comment, so therefore now I can. But you know what? I can't get that up because that's her comment. I don't really know what to do about that. But anyway, we're just going to keep moving on. And since you can't see it, maybe others can't see it, and maybe it's just me. So this is Friday. It's May the 13th, Friday the 13th, 2022. And my guest today is Tamika Allen, and she is a millennial entrepreneur, and she's going to tell us all about how that her generation and what she knows about her generation and how they are faring as entrepreneurs, and get into some of her own business endeavors and her journey as a millennial entrepreneur. But before we do that, please subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and share the feed. Put any comments and questions that you would like in the feed as well, so we can answer any of the questions that you may have. So, Tamika, welcome to the show, and thank you for joining me today.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
All right. So, Tamika, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do, and then we'll get into your entrepreneurial journey.
Okay, well, as she mentioned, I am a millennial. I'm on the older end of that generation. So uh, it's a pleasure as well. But I'm the CEO, owner of Unique Boutique, and I am also a serial entrepreneur. So I have multiple businesses on the way. Um, and that's exciting. I work a 9 to 5. I'm an accountant by day. And that's that's really what it is.
So you are, correct me if I'm wrong, when we were talking, I think yesterday and all this week, because it's Entrepreneurs Week on Life with Sharon, Midday Motivation, we were talking about don't quit your day job, your 9 to 5, until you are fully sustainable in your own entrepreneurial endeavors. Is that the case with you right now?
So, I mean, I don't know if my job is watching this, but we are in conversation. So I am at the stand. I am at the stage in my life where I am going to quit my job because I
Okay.
feel like it's necessary for me to do that in order to scale my businesses. And so, obviously, you don't do that without planning, right? Um,
Right.
I had to save in order to put me in a position to do so, so that if, for the next couple of months, I don't make any money, I am able to survive. But again, I don't recommend quitting your day job until you have an exit plan. And that exit plan includes financial stability, at least for the next couple of months. So for me, I
Right.
am in the process of transitioning out of 9 to 5 because for me, that was my comfort zone.
Okay. All right. Well, I pray that your transition goes well, but you have just said what it is that we've been talking about all week. You planned for this transition. You didn't just say, you know what, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to quit my day job, and now I'm kind of sort of stuck because I didn't think it through. And finances are huge because it goes into everything that we do. The bills are going to keep coming regardless of whether you're an entrepreneur or you have a 9 to 5. So planning is key. So thank you so much for sharing that, because we want to drive that point home, because there's so many people who want to be entrepreneurs and are starting out, but they don't know the how. So all of that, background information is necessary, because there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and people just see the glamour of up front. Like, oh, she must have it going on. It's like, okay, I got it going on. But there was a lot of work that goes on, and it's still going on behind the scenes that makes that happen. And a lot of it is I'm still working a day job, stacking my money so I can do this and then not have the 9 to 5. So thank you for driving that point home as well. So tell us about your entrepreneurial journey, when you started and how you started, if you had any inspirations, like what made you want to start your own boutique.
Well, really, I started this journey probably 7 to 8 years ago, and it really started out as a hobby, right? Many know me to enjoy fashion and to, they know me for my eclecticness, right? And so for me, I just had the desire not to look like everyone else, right? So I started to create things and I really enjoyed crafts. And I said, well, I'm not the only person out there that likes to be different. So then I said, I started to make earrings by hand. I would paint them. I would add pictures to them. I would, you know, uh, cut leather and I would modify clothing, just so that, it was different and people enjoyed it. And that's how it came to be. So it started out really as a hobby. And for the first couple of years, to be perfectly honest, I somewhat treated it as a hobby,
Mm-hmm.
as serious as it was, as I should have been with regards to starting a business. But then when I, decided that this is what I wanted to do, I invested in the necessary things to get that off the ground, such as, you know, your logo, your EIN, and all of those things. All of those things.
That's start the initial starting of the business. Right. Okay. And I'm looking at you now, and I like your style. I like your hat. I like your glasses, like your hair. Right. And you and I, we know each other, and you do have an eclectic, unique style. So it fits your brand. You are your brand. You're a walking billboard for your brand, and
Thank
it's
you.
awesome. So your journey toward where you are right now. Can you tell some of the tips that you've learned along the way, some of the highlights, some of the lowlights, things with they're an entrepreneur who is starting out, some things to avoid that you've learned, and some things that you think that's key that they need to know along this journey.
Well, to start, the number one most important thing is to believe in yourself, right? If you don't believe in yourself, uh, no one's going to believe in you, right? So believe in yourself. For me, another point that I would say would be to kind of never stop creating, especially for those creatives. Like we have mountains and we have valleys, right? And it's sometimes where we don't feel like we shouldn't create, but as a creative, we create out of multiple circumstances, whether you're happy, whether you're sad. What's going on in the world kind of reflects us as creators, right? I
Yes.
would also encourage them to accept failure as a part of your journey. It's going to happen. Many businesses, I want to say it's 3 out of 5. Don't quote me on that, but multiple businesses or startups fail within the first couple of years. But I would encourage you not to give up. I would
Right.
encourage you to continue. And for me, and that's why I have multiple businesses, right? Because I believe in multiple streams of income. And so if someone decided to pull the plug, or if I were to lose my job, I could have another revenue source to depend on.
Right.
That was one of the key things for me. One of the hard lessons I had to learn is to not expect support from your friends and family in the way that you see support, right?
Right. Right.
Some of my biggest supporters are strangers, and some of
Hmm.
them have since become friends. Um,
Yes.
and that was a hard pill to swallow, because you have your friends and you have your family and you expect, okay, you have this really good idea, you want to start a business, and you're expecting them to show up and they don't. And a lot of
Hmm.
times you get discouraged and you may not do it, you may quit, you may stop, you don't want to keep going. And so for me, I think that was one of the hard lessons I had to learn at the very beginning. And one other thing that I learned along the way is networking is key. Plug yourself into a network where there are like mine. So I'm a part of a creative network. I'm a part of many of my friends and family are also entrepreneurs. So, whatever I don't have, I can get from them. I just think it's important to do that. And so those are some of the things that I found along the way, right? One
Hmm.
other thing is to take yourself seriously. Again, if you don't take yourself seriously, then they won't take you seriously. So
That's
invest
true.
in yourself, and invest in your craft so that you can move forward and be successful.
You have to be your own biggest cheerleader, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the point, other people this week on Entrepreneurs Week made that same point about family and friends not supporting them in the way they would have liked supporting, being supported, and strangers being their biggest support. But Jesus had to go outside of his community, right?
Absolutely.
And so it's just natural, unfortunately, for people who are familiar with you not to really see you for who you are, right? The gifts and talents that God has blessed you with, and what you are, what your purpose is in life. You can kind of be taken for granted, not so much on purpose, but taken for granted with the people who know you and love you. It's the people who don't, that see like, oh my gosh, she is like wonderful, like where did you come from? They see it so easily because they don't have that relationship with you. For you, we would think it would be the other way around, but it really isn't. I share that same story. So and again, several people this week have said that, and I know many other people who say similar things. So what I would say to the people is, which was what was said to me, and don't get frustrated with friends and family. God gave you the vision. He told it to you. He didn't tell it to them. So they're not supposed to know. Right. And that helped me when someone told me that. And so now, because I used to get frustrated, like, I'm telling you this, like, why aren't you getting as excited as I am? Right. But he didn't tell them. So just, keep pressing forward, doing what you do, and don't have that expectation. They'll come around when they see it. Right? Some people have to see it then to then believe it, right? So don't get discouraged. Like, keep pressing on, just like Tamika said. So Tamika, as a millennial, do you find that other millennials that I guess you may know, and maybe ones you may not have known because maybe you know their story, how are they faring in this age of entrepreneurship? Have they been starting businesses? How well are they faring? Are they pressing through like you're doing?
I find that it's a fair share. You have the younger millennials who may not have the networking or the capital to continue, but are
Mm-hmm.
they're go-getters, right? And they've already established that they don't want to go the traditional route. So, and that has its negative and positives. Obviously, it takes money to make money. So if you don't have capital, you don't have money, or you don't have anyone investing in you, obviously you cannot continue. But at the same time, it's kind of good for them because while you're young, you may still be at home. You don't have other responsibilities such as kids, such as mortgage, such as car note. You may be at home with mom. So that could be the perfect time, mom and dad. That could be the perfect time that you start your startup. Maybe they're investing in you. So I mean, it's two sides to every coin. I feel like some are doing well and some aren't. But what I will say is that our generation is the largest generation of entrepreneurs, of growing entrepreneurs, and they're also the most diverse, which I found to be very unique. And so I read not too long ago, like in a survey where they said a lot of millennials are not 9-to-5ers. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times people find fault in that because that's what they know. Like,
Right.
baby boomers knew they were very loyal to their company. They probably stayed there for 42 years, 35 years, got a ring, may have gotten some type of gifts and had pensions.
Right.
What they don't understand is for the older millennials, such as myself, we did it the way, or the traditional way that you all recommended, and somewhat came out not on the fair end. Many of us graduated with high debt. Many of us came in, we graduated with our degree and we couldn't find jobs.
Right.
We were in a global crisis at the time that I graduated. So it was a little discouraging at first, because it's just like, okay, I have this high debt and you're offering me this low paying job. I might as well start my business.
Right.
And so I think it's a catch-22, but I think they're faring well, and I think it's good. And honestly, we're the highest consumers. And so if we're the highest consumers, we know what we want. This generation, at one, they're scrolling on a phone. I'm a grandma when it comes to the internet or, any of the social media, which is not a good thing, but they're born in this technology age and all it takes is one post to go viral and you can be a millionaire. So
Right.
I think they're faring well for the most part.
Okay. We have some comments that I'm going to read. Janine says, always cheer yourself on. That's right. That's right. Always be your biggest cheerleader. Janine also says, my husband told me when I started in 1999, this is your baby, nurture it. That's right. You have to nurture your own business because no one else will. And it is yours. Just
Absolutely.
like your own child, your business is your baby. Let's see here. Tanya says, great perspective, Tamika. And Janine also says this generation is doing it different, and I love it. I agree so much with you, Janine. It takes the younger generations in order for the older generations to keep going, right? And to bring those new ideas and that energy to the forefront. And the older generation brings the wisdom and you put it all together. But what tends to happen, like you alluded to, Tamika, when the younger generation started to do something new, the older generation didn't understand and kind of like poo-pooed it, right? Like, no, this is the way it has to be done. Well, no, it's not the way it has to be done. That's just the way you did it. And that worked for you, and that's fine. But don't begrudge me my path, right? And so sometimes the older generation just doesn't understand because they just didn't do it that way. And again, with the advent of technology and social media, it has brought so much to the landscape that we can do things totally different. I mean, you don't even need to go out of your house. And so for a what is it, the baby boomer generation and older, that is wrong. Right? What are you talking about? You don't have to leave the house to go to work. What insanity is that? Right? But we've been at so many years now. I am at the last year of the baby boomers. So I kind of have that. I'm not really stuck in that, generation of that mindset because, like in my family, immediate family of origin, me stepping out doing this, there was a little side eye, not side eye in a bad way, but like, what you doing? You know what I mean? It's like, well, I'm having my own practice. I went to school to do this or whatever. But now because I, can't do everything that they can do on the weekends because they have to work. It's like, but why you got to work? Well, if I don't work, I can't get paid and I can't pay my bills. This is how it works as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. So I can't go to everything. And so even though I tell them this all the time, I still to today, well, why can't you come? I have to work.
Absolutely.
And I don't understand. So I know you understand. Do you fall into that with some people as well? Like not understanding that I have to work, I have to go do this. I have my own business.
Absolutely. I mean, I think people think even on your days off, they think that just because you're off, you have free time. And it's just like, no, especially if you work a 9 to 5. Like, I look for days off so that I can create. And for me,
Yes.
I can see something where, I'll watch a video and I'm like, oh, that's neat. I want to try it. And I'll absolutely go and do that. So I think time is of the essence, and we have to also eliminate our distractions. So sometimes you have to unplug, and if they don't understand, they won't understand. Like these
Right.
couple of months, I've been absent, and only few people have seen me, and it's just like, okay, some things I have missed. It was, some of it was pivotal, but we were also coming up out of a pandemic, and so sometimes it's necessary to kind of pull back to focus on you so that you can move forward. It's not going to be like that always, but
Right.
you need to do what you need to do with the vision that God gave you.
Exactly. And you made a really good point too, talking about even on your days off. That's time. Yeah, it's a day off that you're not, say, doing the business as people typically understand it to be, like, hey, sell me this, sell me that, or service me this way, service me that way. You still have to do the behind the scenes stuff. You still, like you said, have to create. And let me just add this, because as an entrepreneur, our hours are all over the place, right? We need to sleep. We need to rest. So on those days off, sometimes it's like, yeah, I just want to rest. Like, I don't want to go out and do that. That's okay, but I just need to get some sleep, right? Because I know I work late at night and early in the morning, midday, just because I'm trying to make my schedule around my clients. but I still have that other stuff to do. So when I'm not seeing clients and not on the air, right now, I got to put these shows together. I got to find hosts for the shows. I got to, put together the platform. All of that I can't do in front of when I'm doing other things. So there's just a lot that goes into it, just like you're saying. So Tanya had a comment. She says, Tamika, I love your drive and passion. Keep going. Millionaire status is your portion. That's what we were talking about right before the show, Tanya. Yes, millionaire status is her portion, and it is so in Jesus' name. And you know what, Tamika, I am going to say this year, millionaire status is your portion. How about that?
I receive all of that.
Tamika, tell us, what obstacles did you encounter along your entrepreneurial journey?
Again, so I've encountered a few, specifically around like year 2017, year 2018. And I was working at a company where we were working like long hours. I mean, I was on until 2:30 in the morning, you know. I had gotten really sick at that time because I suffer from an autoimmune disease, and stress is a trigger, right? So during that time, I was very sick. I was unable to create, and I got in a really dark place. And dark is not always suicidal, but it was a really dark place. And so, for me, that was an obstacle overcoming that, because it didn't allow me to do the things that I enjoyed to do to make money, right? On the lower end, sometimes we all kind of suffer from procrastination. It's a dream killer. So we all improve in that area. And sometimes doubt. It's just the doubt and the fear of it all. For me, I've been verbally proclaiming that I would be leaving my job now for 2 years, right? And it was just that fear of not having that resources. I've been blessed to make the money that I made in 9 to 5, and it afforded me whatever I literally wanted to do. One, because again, I'm single. I don't have any children. And so if I wanted to take a trip, I could take a trip. If I wanted to gamble, I can gamble, with no remorse. And it afforded me that comfortability. And I didn't, I had to kind of get away from that so that I can focus on me and my business and working for myself. So it was the fear of it all. But you just got to get to a place where you get past that, because fear is temporary. Regret is forever. And so once I understood that, I knew that, okay, I got to pull the plug. And sometimes pulling the plug could be, okay, I need to stop being lazy, or I need to stop procrastinating. For me, it was, I need to pull the plug from my job. I'm never going to take this seriously if I live comfortable. Right. If I live comfortably with my job, it's just like, I'm not going to get my business to a place where I want it to go. So for me, it's about pulling the plug. And to be quite honest, it's, I'm in a place of peace. Like I don't understand why, because what I'm about to, embrace and encounter is not going to be easy. And I know it's not necessarily going to be easy, but it's just peace. It's unexplainable peace. And I kind of look forward to it. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's God's peace, because you're walking in your purpose. And that's when we encounter God's peace. So that's where it's coming from. You are walking in your purpose with the Lord, and there's grace and peace along with that. So that's why you're experiencing it. So we have some other comments. Courtney says, yes, this year for that millionaire status. That's what she's talking about. And Janine says she agrees, Tamika. Yes, your millionaire status is your portion. And so everybody's calling it in for you. So it's done, Tamika. It's done.
I think we all coming to the table,
Oh, I believe it for myself as well. And Janine and LaTanya and Courtney and Letisa and Dr. Damon and Erica, everybody who was on the show this week, millionaire status is this year for us. This is the year of agreement, right? Absolutely. And so we have aligned up with God's plan for our lives. And God has, there's no brokenness in God. So there's no brokenness financially in his people. Right. And all of the people who I just mentioned are walking in their God purpose.
Absolutely.
Right. And so we have lined up, and this is the year of agreement the Roman calendar year, the Hebraic calendar year, it's a done deal. I'm just waiting for all of you to come back on the show at the end of the year. We're going to make this happen. Talk about our millionaire status that we spoke and have been speaking, because I know all of you, into existence. And this year is the day of manifestation. Listen, I
Listen,
know that like I know my name. That's how sure I am of our millionaire status. So let me see. I get on my soapbox. Let me see what some people are saying. Courtney says, nothing like peace. Yes, absolutely. And nothing like God's peace, because God's peace is the true peace. Not
absolutely.
peace like man gives, peace like God gives. And let's see, Shakira says yes. Thank you, Shakira, for commenting. Let's see, I think I read everybody else's comment. So Tamika, let's talk about uh, how you deal with maintaining a motivation. How do you stay motivated, especially in those times, just like you talked about, going through those times where it's like you have some self-doubt, maybe some insecurities, maybe things just aren't going as well as you had planned, because we know life happens. How do you stay motivated as an entrepreneur?
For me, I surround myself around the things that I love, right? I get re-energized if I'm around people that are doing for themselves, if I'm around my friends, if I'm around art. Like when I was going through that dark situation, I was going to art shows. Literally, I didn't wait for anybody. During the week, during the weekend, you want to come, you can come. If you ain't coming, I'm going, because I know that's where that, and then obviously, by God, that's where I'm going to get my healing. That's where I'm going to get my charging. And so I did whatever I felt was necessary. And for me, that's music, art, and people. And I continuously did that. On some of the days when I didn't believe it, I started to put into practice where I would, even if I couldn't say it or didn't want to say it, would listen to positive affirmations, right? We
Right.
that, your tongue is a powerful thing. As a creator, God created everything with his mouth. He spoke those things into existence, and that's what it is. And so for me, even if I didn't know what to say, I would just have those things played in the background to kind of pull me up out of that place. And it's working. And then writing things down, you know,
Yes.
um, I'm not, listen, I did numbers. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I do well. So writing,
Right.
I would always have these creative thoughts or whatever the case may be, and I would never jot it down. And even if I didn't do it that day, I know that someday I'll get to it. And so I think it's important to kind of jot it down for journaling purposes. You
Right.
know?
Right.
That in itself is rewarding, to see how far you come from the time you wrote where you
Yes.
were going to be. And so
Right.
that's what I encourage, and that's what I do.
Yeah, I believe in journaling. Always tell my clients to keep a journal as well, like you said, so you can look at how far you've come. Because everything is in our head and everything is jumbled up, but when we put it on paper, it seems like, wow, that's the reality of things, rather than in our mind. That's where the self-doubt and insecurities, because it's along with everything else, and it gets confusing. So,
Absolutely.
but when you put it on paper, it's like, you know what, this is doable. I have done some things. I have accomplished some things, and it makes you feel good,
It does.
right? So,
You see all the wins and even some of your
yes.
losses. But I think one of the things with the millennial generation is that this is one of the negative things, is that we see all the glitz and glamour, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I tell people. I said, we take 20, 30 pictures to pull out two to put on the web, right?
Right.
So that people can see us and the light that we would want them seeing, but they don't see when, okay, you could barely get up in the morning, or, you're tired, you're exhausted, or you can't get your project off the ground, or they don't
Yes.
see the negative, they always see the positive. And so for me to see little wins is encouraging, because we don't wake up millionaires. At least I didn't. And
Right.
I don't have many friends that did. And so
Right.
I think it's important to kind of stress that to anyone that's starting this business as well, because it's just like, that's not the reality. It
Yeah.
can happen, but that's not the reality. The reality is it takes time. And just like it
Yeah.
took you 9 months to get here, and it took you 18 years to graduate, or 25 years to get a degree, it's going to take you time to get that baby off the ground.
Exactly. And that nobody's life is glamorous every day, all day. So that picture, like you said, that's put out on social media is a falsehood, and it does damage to people. I see so many people, especially young people, adolescents and teenagers, who gain their self-esteem from social media. And if their pictures aren't liked, or if somebody's life looks glamorous all the time, and we know that is just not the case. It's just what they're choosing to show. They didn't, like you said, didn't show the sleepless nights. They didn't show the depressed period. They didn't show the anxiety and all that we know is going on, because that's life. So we have to make sure we have that balance and understand that that's not reality. That's some of their days. And hopefully that, it was a lot of their days, but that's not all of their days, because in our humanity, we are broken and we're flawed. And so we're going to have days that aren't good. That's just a given.
Absolutely.
If you live out of, say, infancy, right, and toddlerhood, right, and begin to experience life, you're going to have days that aren't that glamorous. So I want to read some comments here. Tamika Timothy says, one of the realest entrepreneurs I know, talking about you, Tamika, very creative and inspiring. Keep pushing toward. I'm always cheering you on. Very proud of you. Thank you, Timothy, for your comment. And Shakira said yes to something that we were saying earlier. And Courtney says, you're talking good, Sister Allen. They're loving you, Tamika. They're loving you. All right. So Tamika, tell us about, and you did answer some of this, I think, in your last answer, but tell us what you do for self-care.
Well, I need to get better at that. Let's be honest. And I think we all do. But
I agree, me too.
But normally what I would do is sometimes it's do nothing. Sometimes it's just create for myself. So, because let me tell you this, there are some things that creators create that they do not want to release.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I battle with that, but I'm like, no, this is for me. This ain't for everybody else, right? And other than that, it's a spa day, just relaxing. But like I said, I have to get better at that. And what's helping me is I saw a quote where it said, a lot of times we treat self-care as an emergency response plan to stress. Mm-hmm. And it said that we should have a healthy self-care where it's intentional in the way that we live.
Yes.
In our values, in our attitude, in our mind, in our actions. And it should really become a part of your daily routine.
Absolutely.
Right? So I follow a guy named, his name is Dante Moore. And what he started to do is he started to record his mornings, and he's an entrepreneur. And his mornings were so peaceful. It was like he got up, he got in the shower, he made his tea, he journaled, he wrote. And I'm thinking to myself, who has all that kind of time to do it? Right? I get up, now since I've been working at home, I get up, I get in the shower, I brush my teeth, and I get onto the computer. Sometimes I'm not eating until 11 o'clock. And so for me, that's one of my goals, is to be very intentional about self-care, even if it's just stealing 10 minutes in the morning or, 15 minutes at night. I just want to be intentional, because we are no good to others if we are no good in our own selves. And so for me, I have to put that into practice.
Yes, that is so true. And I, as a therapist, I'm always talking to people about self-care, but I wasn't doing it like I'm asking my clients to do it up until last year. And I can still get better at it. But last year, because it was such a difficult year for me, just like you said, until we get to that point, it's like, oh, now self-care. But no, self-care is a preventive measure, right? It should be built into our day, our week, ongoingly. So those of you who may not be practicing self-care, and self-care looks the way it should look for you. It's not some script. It's whatever it looks like for you, but you need to start building it into your day, into your week, because if you're not replenishing yourself, we give out a lot to people every day. And if you're not replenishing yourself, you're only giving out the rest of you rather than the best of you, right? And we don't want to just give out the rest. We want to give out our best, but you can't do that until you rejuvenate, reset, right? And put things back into you to help you to give out that best of you. And for those of us, who are spiritual, that's our number one self-care is being in the presence of God, being in prayer, reading his word, because that gives us peace. That gives us God and his mind and all of that comes with him, with his joy. So that's a number one for those of us who are believers. And then those things that you just enjoy. And like Tamika said, 5 minutes here, just do some deep breathing. Just throw your head back and close your eyes. Just take a small break. You'll be surprised how those little moments that you take can really help to rejuvenate you for the rest of that day. So let's all take some time today to think about what we want self-care to look like in our lives today and moving forward, because it'll bless you, because it's for you. And anything that's for you that will benefit you is something that we need to do. So let me get to these other comments here. Janine says, that's why, let me see, that's why we, the older generation, must continue to pour, and stop feeling like we're divided. Together we are better. Absolutely, Janine. Great comment. She also says, my goal is give everything its proper time. So true. So true. So true. It's Jiggy says, Miss Sharon, what got you into entrepreneurship and why, and what is your business? I am in private practice as a licensed professional counselor. So the type of, therapist lay on my couch, tell me your problems type of thing. Well, I always have to, there's so many types of therapists. So I always like to, let you know what type of therapist I am. Mental health, addictions, marriage counseling, relationship counseling, anger management, mental health, anxiety, depression, trauma, all those things like that. That's what I do in my private practice, as well as this platform, Full Life Communications, is my media company. So the shows that I produce through this company on social media, which were once on the radio, now on social media, are all from my company. So as a media broadcasting company owner, so those two things, and I do other things because as Tamika said, we need more than one source of income, right? Because you never know when something's going to happen. And then if you just have that one source, that's that baby boomer generation and before, one source of income. But they could stay at their jobs for 50, 100 years and nothing really happened. That was security. But life is not like that now. We need many oceans of income so we can have that security, not just in one. We see these old standard jobs have been there forever. They're closing up now because of the economy, because of technology, things that are being done differently. So now we have to be creative and think outside the box. What can I do? We all have talents and gifts that God has blessed us with. You just have to tap into it. There is nothing that you need that is outside of yourself. It's in you. You just have to tap into it. Have a conversation with God. Have a conversation with some people who know you really well. And they can say, I see this in you. I've always seen this in you. Or if you've had a dream that you put on the shelf, dreams come for a reason and they can be fulfilled if you put action behind it. Tamika, this was your dream, what you're doing, right? And you put action behind it. And that's why it's coming to fruition. That's why it's being fulfilled. It's not just something you pulled out of the air. This was a dream, a passion of yours, however long you've had it. Am I right?
Correct. That is correct.
Right. And so pull up those dreams, take them off the shelf, write the goal down on paper, put some action plans together to make it happen, bring people on board who talk to God about it first, friends about it first, who might need to be on board so you can get that dream off of the paper and into reality, and your dream will come true. The most successful people that you see, on the internet, on television, they just had a vision. And then they made it happen by these same steps that Tamika's talking about today and everybody else that was on this week for Entrepreneurs Week. It can happen. You can do it. We're all human beings. We all have the same capabilities. Some of us just tap into it and others don't. Tap into yours. So Tamika, do you have any parting words for the audience today?
I'll leave you with this. I saw it and it stuck with me. Every day that we're born, every day that we wake up on this side of the earth, we have two things. We have a choice and we have chance. And it is your choice what you're going to do with your chance. And so I encourage you to evaluate that on a daily basis. and make good choices.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I believe we read all of the comments and the questions today. Thank you guys. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Janine, Timothy. It's Jiggy. And am I missing anybody? Tanya. If I missed anybody, I'm so sorry. And if you're watching and didn't say anything, we appreciate you watching as well. And if you watch on the replay, thank you for watching. And if you watch on the replay, you can still put comments and questions there, and we'll go back in and answer anything that we can for you. But we appreciate you joining us today. Hopefully, there were some tips that were said today that were helpful for you to start your entrepreneurial journey, or if you're already on the journey, to help you make it go a little smoother. Again, life is going to happen. Can't get by that. But with self-care and taking advantage of some of the tips that Tamika gave you today of some things to look out for, hopefully it'll help make your journey a little less bumpy. And we have Erica on. Thank you, Erica. Erica was our guest yesterday. Erica says, great. Great job. This was so good. Thank you so much, Erica. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for watching today. I appreciate you and we love you. God bless you. We hope you have a great day. And Tamika, I want you and everybody else who is on Entrepreneurs Week this week with me to come back on in the month of December, and we're going to talk about that millionaire status that we have all achieved, that we have put it out here this year of 2022, the year of agreement, and we're going to talk about how we're counting our money.
Absolutely.
That's right. That's right. So thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you so much. Have a God day. Anya, thank you for watching the show. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. God bless you. Shalom.